Most people are sleeping on one of the best credit card hotel programs out there. Pretty much everybody talks about Hilton, Hyatt, and Marriott. However, there's one player that deserves a lot more attention than it currently gets. IHG. So IHG may not have the brand recognition that some of these other giants do. However, with over 4,300 properties in the United States and more than 6,000 worldwide, there's actually a ton of opportunity here, from reasonable stays all the way up to luxury vacations. What's even better is because this program is so underappreciated, most people don't realize that there's some serious value to unlock in the IHG lineup of credit cards, which is exactly what I'm going to cover today in this complete guide to teach you everything you'll need to know about which credit card could be right for you. So for today's video, I'm going to keep it really straightforward, but I believe that it'll be packed with value, especially if you're interested in learning more about the IHG lineup of credit cards and maybe where one could fit in based on your credit card strategy. I'll cover the 3 different IHG cards, and with each one, really focus on the best type of strategy that works for most people to get the best kind of value out of it. Then I'll share a few tips and tricks in the lineup that you may not have thought about before. And finally, answer the question if any of these cards are really worth it, and if so, which one I like the most. Since a lot of people are just unfamiliar about the range of properties that IHG has under their brand umbrella, let's talk about some of the big ones. Of course, in the luxury range, some of the names that really pop out are the brands Intercontinental and Hotel Indigo. If you get into more of the still upscale hotels, but not necessarily luxury stays, you've probably seen some Crown Plazas around, especially in bigger city areas. Then I'm sure everybody in the budget area has seen the Holiday Inn Express and the Holiday Inn Collection, and you may have noticed some of the longer stay options at something like a Candlewood Suites or a Staybridge Suites. In there are some recognizable names, as well as some others that you may not have associated with IHG itself. I'll admit that some of these aren't the flashiest or the most exciting hotel chains. However, if you're a value seeker like me, you're going to want to understand what these credit cards bring to the table, because I really think that there could be something here for a lot of people. Let's start off by breaking down the base level intro card in the personal card lineup. There are 2 personal credit cards branded with IHG and Chase, and 1 business card that we'll talk about today. That first card is the $0 annual fee IHG One Rewards Traveler card. This card typically runs a sign-up bonus between 80 and 100,000 IHG rewards points. And I think now is the perfect time to talk about what IHG rewards points are worth. So when you hear 80 to 100K, you can identify a cash price that this is actually going to be redeemable for in the portfolio of brands. So the first thing I'll say right off the bat is, disappointingly, IHG points aren't worth very much. Even though hotel cards are notorious for having points that have a ton of inflation, meaning you'll see high multipliers and high sign-up bonuses, IHG, well, they're one of the worst. With their hotel points, typically a commonly accepted value for them is half a cent a point, meaning the One Rewards Traveler card with the sign-up bonus between 80 and 100,000 points typically will have a cash value between $400 and $500. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is when you start to compare this card to other $0 annual fee cards, you'll realize that even though points aren't valued very highly, the bonus is still much more lucrative than a lot of other $0 annual fee options. To compare it to the United Airlines Gateway card, which is one of the higher $0 annual fee cards that you can get a good sign-up bonus on, that's going to give you a standard bonus of 30,000 miles, worth about $360. You could also take a general transferable currency card like the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which is going to give you a bonus of about 25,000 ultimate rewards points, worth about $250 when redeemed for travel. Even though the IHG card is really locking you into redemptions at their hotels, they offset this by at least giving you great value even on a $0 annual fee card in terms of the welcome bonus. Now that we understand the welcome bonus, let's talk about the earnings on this card and the benefits that come with it to see where the value is in the $0 option. We'll start off with a 17x multiplier on bookings made at IHG properties. Within that, you get 5x points for being a Traveler Rewards card holder, 10x for being an IHG member, and then an additional 2x points for that baseline silver status that comes automatically with this card. In addition to the 17x, you'll also get 3x points on dining, gas, select streaming, internet, and utilities. Finally, everything else you buy will earn you a clean 2x back. Now, since we learned that IHG points are way inflated, and I like to cut the multipliers in half when I compare them to a standard credit card. In real term value, you're essentially earning 8.5, 1.5, and 1x points going down those earnings categories. Now let's talk status. Silver Elite status through IHG is the first level up in the status chain, and that's what you're granted automatically on this card. Given that the status level is so low, and generally IHG status tiers are not as impressive as some of the other counterparts that they compete against in the hotel world, Silver Elite status doesn't have a lot going for it. You'll get member rates, free internet, which is pretty much standard everywhere, and a late checkout offered. It just so happens that all of these also come with just the base level status that you get even if you don't have a credit card. So to add insult to injury, the card doesn't actually help you achieve anything more on an experience side at the hotel. On this card, you do open the door that allows you to redeem 3 nights with points and then generates that 4th night free. This can be an incredible value, and we'll talk about how to use this even more on the next card in the lineup. At the end of the day, you need to know that the first level in the IHG card tier is only worth a decent sign-up bonus and the opportunity to unlock the 4th night after spending 3 nights free. I wanted to show you how exactly this works. So I took an example property of the Kimpton Hotel Aris in Asheville, North Carolina. Now this is a pretty nice hotel, costing you $395 a night on a 4-night stay. If you book with points, which you have to unlock the 4th night free, it's gonna cost you 75,250 points a night. This works out to about a 0.52 cent per point valuation, which is very much in line with what we commonly see for IHG points. To unlock a 4th night free, you'd have to book the first 3 with points, and that would be spending 225,750 IHG points to get those first 3 nights. However, in this example, that would unlock the 4th night absolutely for free, which we could say has a cash value of $375. That's a lot of potential value on a $0 annual fee card. However, I want to look at the next card in the portfolio, which is actually a much better option, even for the spending adverse, because you can unlock so many additional benefits and still tap into the perks that the Traveler card has, but just in a more value-packed way. This card, which has a $99 annual fee, is going to be the popular IHG One Rewards Premier card. IHG gives this card a number of different sign-up bonuses, and at the time I'm recording the video, it's 140,000 points. However, you often see this card going up to 180,000 points, which can be a great bonus if you want to be flexible in your travel plans, or if you've got a designated trip in mind where you want to stay multiple nights, you could wait and apply for this card when they're offering a number of nights free as the sign-up bonus there. The earnings rates on this card get a lot more serious, and is one of the beginning reasons as to why I see this as a valuable fit in a lot of different wallet strategies out there. You can earn 26 points back for cash bookings at IHG properties. This breaks down to 10x back from the card, 10x back for being an IHG One Rewards member, and then 6x points back for your Platinum Elite status, granted automatically on this credit card. You're also gonna earn 5x back on travel, gas, and dining. And I kinda like that 5x multiplier for gas because a lot of people do not have a dedicated gas card, and that could be used to generate consistent points if you wanna go the IHG route. Finally, every other purchase on this card gets you a flat 3x back. Now again, when thinking about these points for the value that they're actually going to get you, I roughly like to break these earnings rates down to 13x, 2.5x, and 1.5x back. Let's talk benefits on this card, and this is another area that I think the card really excels. First of all, automatic Platinum Elite status. This is the second highest status from the top in the IHG tier list. This earns you rollover nights towards next year's status, Hertz 5-star status, which is the base level elevated status with Hertz, which gets you a few perks for rental cars there, complimentary room upgrades, which can be a great perk on site at the property, a welcome amenity upon check-in, and early check-in as well, which can truly be an awesome benefit when you can't necessarily control some of the other parts about the arrival and departure times of your trip. Now, this card also gets you the 4th night free after booking 3 nights on award points, and it comes with an awesome sustainable benefit in a 1 free night annual certificate valued on a room up to 40,000 points, and that's reloaded every single year. This card also comes with global entry or TSA PreCheck, a $100 statement credit after spending $20,000 in the year, which I don't personally love because it's not a good value for the dollars you have to spend to achieve that, and another spending multiplier getting you Diamond Elite status if you spend $40,000 throughout the year. Again, another benefit, but not really a good one to pursue if you care about value from your wallet. Finally, the last one to point out is that you can get $50 in United Travel Bank cash. However, there's a little bit of a caveat with this in that the valuations are given twice a year. So $25 in January and then $25 6 months later. And each credit expires about 6 months after it's first offered. So certainly not something that you would base getting this card around. However, if you happen to fly at some point in the year, it may make United the most cost-effective option for you if that's what you're looking for when booking a flight. Now, as you can clearly tell, there are a ton of benefits in this card, and between the spending multipliers and the benefits ingrained in the statuses and additional perks to make your experience when hitting the road even better, I think there are 2 really strong strategies that I would recommend that anybody considering this card would pursue. The first realistic strategy with this card that I want to share today is what I'm going to call the hands-off strategy. And this strategy is best for somebody who has a full lineup of credit cards and really isn't looking for an everyday spending card, but they know they'll stay at least 1 night a year and want to get a little bit more value from an IHG property. For this type of person, you could add the IHG One Rewards Premier card to your lineup and know that you're paying that $99 every single year. However, with a 40,000 point free night certificate coming in annually, that's probably about $150 to $200 valuation on the hotel property that you'd realistically cash that in for. You're essentially paying $99 up front for about a $150 to $200 value on the back end, and then that whole list of benefits I just read off, well, if you happen to use those during the year, that's surplus value right on top of what you know you're guaranteed to get out of that free night. The second strategy is more of a hands-on one, and that's taking full advantage of the list of credits and benefits that come on this card. This is certainly for the person that will spend multiple nights at IHG properties, where then you're gonna realize that the status level and some of those other travel benefits are going to come in handy. If you're staying multiple nights at IHG properties each year, the first thing that will jump out at you is how quickly your IHG points add up when you're getting 26x back on those cash purchases with this card. Theoretically, if you spend enough nights and you're getting 26x back, plus maybe you also use this card for your regular gas spend, you should be able to accumulate enough points over a period of time to also take advantage of the 3 nights booked on points and 4th night free in your future travel plans. With this strategy, not only do you hold a sustainable card, get a lot of benefits, but you also have a spending purpose with it that allows you to unlock possibly one of the best perks in that 3 nights booked, 1 night free award redemption. Finally, for a few people out there, the IHG One Rewards Premier business card will actually be the one in the lineup of 3 that makes the most sense and delivers the most value back to you. This business card is essentially a carbon copy of the One Rewards Premier card on the personal side. However, there's just a few factors that set this card apart, which could push some people towards getting the business card instead of the personal card. And that's mainly the more powerful sign-up bonus and some of the back-end strategy and reasoning for getting a business card over adding a personal card in this slot inside your wallet. First of all, that sign-up bonus can be higher, and significantly so. We're seeing a sign-up bonus right now at the time of recording of 200,000 IHG points, worth roughly $1,000 in cash value or $300 cash value more than just the regular personal card version of the IHG One Rewards Premier. This card has the same earnings rate, so you still get to take advantage of that massive 26x back on cash bookings at IHG properties, but from a business side, it also adds 1 category highlighting 5x back in select business expenses. This is things like social media, search advertising, and business supply stores. Again, the benefits are nearly identical. However, this card does try to entice more spending with an additional free night award valued up to 40,000 points after hitting $60,000 to spend on this card. Now, the reason it may make more sense to go with the business version of this card as opposed to the personal version is if you specifically want to target that higher welcome offer. Now, you will have to spend more to get there, but if you already have the spending in your budget and that's planned for, and you were already going to do so, that 200,000 point welcome bonus can make a real difference if you've got a planned strategy for how you're going to use that. The second condition in which you may be looking at this card is that you have a goal of applying to many more Chase cards down the road, and you're concerned about your 524 status. As we know, business cards won't count against you when Chase is considering your 524 status if you apply for one of their personal or business cards in the future. Finally, before I share two last value tips for getting the most out of your IHG rewards points, and also which card I like the best out of this lineup, I want to encourage you that if you are struggling with getting your own personal wallet organized, one of my favorite card management tools is one of our partners' card pointers. If you're interested in trying card pointers, down below in the description, I have a link that will get you 30% off. The last two value hacks I want to share with you today are two things that are a little unique to IHG. And the first one is actually going to be buying IHG points to help achieve your redemption goals. From time to time, usually 4 to 6 times a year, IHG will run sales on just buying their point currency. Now, the only time I would ever say this makes sense is if you have a designated redemption coming up in mind that you're a little bit short on points for, and IHG is running a 100% bonus on their points. If you stack this with the 20% point boost you get from owning the IHG Premier card, this could really be some positive value, and if it makes sense for your goals, is a perfectly good way to get more out of your IHG points than just relying on normal spend on your cards. When you pair it with the value add of booking the 3-night stay and getting the 4th night free, if that's what it takes to get this strategy done, well, then it could be a really good option. Finally, when you look across the map of IHG properties, we know that there are a lot in the United States, but some of the most valuable point redemptions can actually be found overseas. So I highly encourage you to not just limit your search to within the US if you want to get the most bang for your buck for your IHG points. Now, I'd like to wrap up today by answering if any of these cards are worth it, and in my opinion, which one is the very best. I think you can already tell I'm not a big fan of the $0 annual fee Traveler card. There's just not a lot there for you once you burn through that welcome bonus, and then I just don't see it being worth the opportunity cost of taking up a slot in your wallet. On the flip side, I love the passive value and the multiple different strategies you can take for the IHG One Rewards Premier card, whether you want to hold the card and just use the surplus value that you get on the free night award, or whether you want to spend aggressively in cash bookings and maybe in that gas category to keep the IHG points coming, and then try to target that book 3 nights, get a 4th night free strategy to create some awesome memories and experiences for your own travel. I would say the Premier business card is also a solid option, but the standard personal card is just going to be the much more popular option that makes sense for the majority of people out there. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed learning about a program that almost never gets talked about and see a way that potentially some of these cards could make sense for you.